What's going on, everyone? This is Jags Central and I hope you're all doing well. First things first, apologies for the late video. I've been quite busy this week, so I haven't had a chance to record this review. But let's just get into the game. The Jaguars fall to 2-8 this year with another close loss to the Minnesota Vikings, a 12-7 loss where the Minnesota Vikings didn't score a single touchdown and they still won. I think that's the first time that's happened in such a long time. I can't remember when it was. I think maybe 2015 or something, or 2004 or something. I can't remember. It was such a long time ago. And now the Jaguars are sitting fourth place in the AFC South and currently projected for the number one draft pick. It's quite an amazing season that the Jaguars are having because they've lost so many of these close games this season. And you'd think on the face of it, if somebody asks you how the Jags did in this season, you'd say awful because their record is 2-8. But then also, if you look deep into it, had we won some of our close games, not all, we'll be 5-5. We'll be 5-5. And I really think that this is a team where when you're losing close games, it comes down to the minor details. And for this game especially, it just came to minor details. Like at the end, like where Trayvon Walker had the 15-yard penalty, or basically the flag where it ended the game essentially. Had that not happened and we get the ball back, maybe we go and score a touchdown. The game against the Miami Dolphins in the first game, if Travis Etienne doesn't fumble the ball, we win the game. The game against the Texans, that was another close game. The game against the Packers, another close game. The game against, who was it against last week now? That was another close game. The Eagles. Like, there's so many little minute moments where everything has gone against us. And most of it is our own wrongdoing. But at the same time, it shows that even though we're 2-8, we're seen as a bad team, it's not that we're getting like blown out. Because last year, the Carolina Panthers were the worst team in the NFL. And it was obvious that they were bad because there was a lot of things that needed to change. They weren't losing any close games. They were getting blown out by 20, 30. I think last season we beat them 30-0 as well. So they were a bad team. We're not your typical bad team because right now, if we get the first round pick, it's kind of annoying. I'll make a video about this during the bye week or something. But let's just get into the game. I just don't want to waffle about the season in general. I just want to talk about this game. The Jacksonville Jaguars would enter the game without Trevor Lawrence. I made a video last week where I spoke about the injury situation regarding Trevor Lawrence. And then as of now, he's going to be shut down for the game not shut down, but he's going to be out for the game against the Detroit Lions this Sunday. And we have the bye after that. So we're really not going to know any update on Trevor Lawrence probably until after the bye. So yeah, we'll have to see where we stand. But the Jaguars defense today showed up in a big way. And one thing I want to also talk about is the Jaguars defense. But I'll do that a bit later. But let's just go into the game. Like, I really thought coming into this game that Minnesota were going to have an explosive offensive game, mainly because they've been a really good offensive team this year, and essentially they have the best receiver in the league in Justin Jefferson. But the Jaguars' pass defense played extremely well in this game. They limited most of their explosive passes. They held Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to 7 catches for 73 yards and 0 touchdowns. For a normal receiver, just to have 7 catches for 73 yards is a great game. But to hold Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the league for me, and Jordan Addison for 7 catches for 73 yards and 0 touchdowns, that is amazing. Like, the secondary brought in 3 interceptions. That was one of our this was definitely our best defensive game of the season. And Ronald Darby also had a 4th interception, but it was called back for a penalty. But then he also fumbled it as well. But it was easy as well. And there was one time also he broke up a pass that could have easily been the 5th interception as well. But that was just an amazing performance from the secondary and the rush as a whole. Because just because the secondary ended up getting an interception doesn't mean that the rush didn't do anything. Because most of the time, the rush is what causes the panic, what causes the quarterback to make a ill-advised throw. But yeah, the defense as a whole played super well. And getting to the offense, the offense started the game with a quick 3 and out. What do you expect? Mac Jones is coming to the game for the first time this season. There's not really any rhythm. The offensive also is depleted with Ezra Cleveland also out of the offensive line as well. And then the Vikings just go up and get a field goal after we go 3 and out, and they're up 3-0. And then we come back, and Mac Jones has a 9-play drive, 70 yards, and he caps it off with a 1-yard rushing touchdown, and the Jags go up 7-3. And then from there, this is where Sam Darnold just went interception after interception after interception. And then we went into the second half where Sam Darnold threw his third interception. And then from this point, Sam Darnold has thrown 3 interceptions, and the Jacksonville offense has accounted for 0 points off those turnovers. That's something where I spoke about earlier in the season, where I said the defense wasn't getting any turnovers for the offense. And then when the defense started to get some turnovers, the Jags offense wasn't converting those turnovers into points, which is kind of annoying. And that's something where the offense needs to do much better, like turning these turnovers into points, because that's something that what teams have done to us, where we've turned over the ball earlier this season and they've turned it into points, especially in the Packers game where we threw 2 interceptions and they turned both interceptions into 14 points. Had we turned any of those interceptions today, or not today, sorry, but on that game in Sunday, into any points, we would have won that game. So then in the fourth quarter, the Vikings finally took their first lead of the game with a field goal, putting them up 9-7. And even then, like, the Jags are still in this game. But the Jags fumble on offense, and then now the Vikings score a field goal to go up 12-7. And then now we throw an interception with, like, I think just over 3 minutes remaining in the game. But the defense forces a 3 and out. We get the ball back, and then now gives us another chance. And Jones throws another interception. This time he's going for Gabe Davis, and this is the one where Doug Peterson and the media have been talking about. And then now there's like just over a minute left, but we have our timeouts, and then we get a defensive stop. And then this is the one where I was talking about earlier in the video, but a personal foul on Trevor Walker for unnecessary roughness on third down allowed, like, the Vikings to basically kneel out the game, and then securing their 12-7 win against the Jaguars. But it was kind of annoying because I really thought that if we got the ball back for the nth time, maybe we could have gotten to the offense, into the end zone and scored. But the way the offense was playing, I feel like if we played for another four quarters, that the offense wouldn't have scored. That's how, like, unsynced that the offense was playing in. But the Jacksonville Jaguars defense, they played winning football, like on Sunday. They did struggle to get the Vikings off the field because they had a lot of, like, long drives, but a lot of those times those long drives ended up as an interception, and then we got the ball back that way, but then also they converted some of their long drives into field goals, which essentially helped them win the game. But the defense surrendered only 12 points. If before the game the defense said we're only going to give up 12 points, you would have taken it. And not just 12 points with 3 turnovers. But Ryan Nilsson's unit played amazing. And while you'd want to have perfection, which is basically don't concede any points, this is basically as close as you can get to a perfect performance in the NFL. Now at 2-8 against the Lions this Sunday, the question is, like, should the Jaguars basically shut down Trevor Lawrence for the rest of the season? Because I really think that even though I'd want to hope for a Jags win this Sunday, I don't think that we have enough to beat the Lions this Sunday, so we go 2-9. I don't think it's the right thing to shut down Trevor Lawrence for the rest of the season, because it's just not the right move for his development and also building chemistry with the rest of the team. We know that the team is out for the playoffs. Doesn't mean the team should stop competing completely, because that's going to set the tone for a bad precedence, and the team should be, like, competing every single day, just like the defense did last Sunday against the Vikings. And that's why I loved about the effort from the defense, because had they not turned up, it could have been a game where the Vikings win 28-7. Justin Jefferson has over 100 yards, multiple TDs, and whatever. But then this is a game where I really think that had Trevor Lawrence been playing, all we needed was just a little bit of an offensive spark to win this game, and you'd expect Trevor Lawrence to score more than 7 points in this game. And the funny thing is, if we flip the Jags one-score games this season, because they've lost a lot of close games, they would be 7-3 this season, which shows that that is what we expected this team to be, a team with probably 6 or 7 wins by now, and also chasing the Houston Texans for the number 1 spot in the AFC South. The other question is, are the Jags defense turning the corner? The Jags defense currently rank dead last in most defensive categories, even though it doesn't seem that way. Like, I know that they've been quite bad this season, but I really think that defense has been playing pretty well. But the reason that they have had a bad rap for me is because the offense doesn't stay on the field as long, so which makes that the defense stays on the field for much more that they need to. So time of possession is what the Jags need to improve on offense, which would in turn help the defense stay on the field longer. And I'm really, really bullish on the entire unit, the defensive unit that is continuing to basically improve over the season under Ryan Nielsen. This is his first season in Jacksonville. He had a great season last season with the Atlanta Falcons. And then with the Jags in general, they've had like a solid run defense for a few years, and that's mainly thanks to Josh Hines-Allen and also Trayvon Walker, which set the edge on either side. But the secondary is starting to click, and the defense also transition from a 3-4 zone heavy attack to a 4-3 man heavy. So they're combining that with basically Nielsen being a newcomer. There's always going to be some growing pains, and I really, really think that we can see an improvement from the defense as we go on for the rest of the season. And I don't expect Ryan Nielsen to be fired or move on after the end of the season. So I think having that continuity to go into the next season, I think it spells positivity for the Jaguars as well. But now, on to Sunday's game against the Lions, probably the best team we're going to face all season. I feel like it could be a heavy defeat because we don't have Trevor Lawrence. We have some injuries on the offensive line. But nevertheless, let's go Jags. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And also, let's get a conversation going in the comments.